Alexander Sterling made a decision he knew could destroy everything. I need to know the truth, even if it breaks my heart. His lawyer didn't understand. His board members thought he'd lost his mind. But Alex had no choice. 38 years old, billionaire CEO, widowed father of twins, and engaged to a woman he was starting to fear. But what Alex didn't know, as he stood in his mansion that cold morning, was that going undercover as a janitor in his own home would expose a plot so twisted, so evil, it would nearly cost him the two people he loved most, and the woman who would save them. She wasn't who anyone expected. But before we continue, kindly hit the subscribe button and tell us where you are watching from. It was 6:15 in the morning, and Alexander Sterling stood in his private study, staring at the security monitor. The mansion was quiet, 42 rooms, 12 bathrooms, a staff of 8, and somewhere in those perfectly decorated halls, his fiancée was planning something. He could feel it. Alex ran a hand through his dark hair, exhaustion pulling at his features. He hadn't slept well in weeks, not since he'd overheard that phone call. Once the brats are out of the picture, everything falls into place. Serafina's voice, cold, calculating, speaking to someone he didn't recognize. At first, he told himself he misheard, that he was being paranoid. That grief over losing his wife Catherine 2 years ago was making him see shadows where there were none. But then came the small things. The way Serafina flinched when his 8-year-old daughter Mia tried to hug her. The irritation in her eyes when his son Max laughed too loudly at dinner. The credit card statements showing purchases she'd hidden. Jewelry, designer bags, cash withdrawals totaling tens of thousands. And then, 3 days ago, he had found the research. Buried in her laptop browser history. Articles about undetectable poisons. Forums discussing inheritance laws. Life insurance policies on children. His blood had run cold. Alex closed his eyes, steadying his breath. He was a man who'd built a tech empire from nothing. A man who had negotiated billion-dollar deals and outmaneuvered corporate sharks. But this was his children, and he couldn't afford to be wrong, so he had made the plan. Radical, dangerous, but necessary. He would tell Serafina about an urgent business trip to Singapore. 2 weeks of crucial meetings that simply couldn't be postponed. He would make it sound like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a chance he couldn't afford to miss. And then he would come back as someone else. John Matthews, the new janitor. Invisible, forgettable, the kind of man people barely noticed, if at all. But he would watch, he would document. He would gather every piece of evidence, quietly, patiently, until it all became undeniable. Because if Serafina was really planning to hurt his kids, he needed evidence that would stand up in court, evidence that would put her away forever. Alex picked up his phone and dialed his head of security. "Marcus, it's time. I need the disguise ready by tonight." The twins were eating breakfast when Alex came downstairs. Mia, sweet, gentle Mia, sat at the massive dining table, her blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, carefully cutting her pancakes into perfect squares. She'd always been precise like that. Methodical. Max was the opposite. Messy, energetic, syrup already smeared on his cheek as he talked a mile a minute about the soccer game he had that afternoon. And then Coach said, "I could play forward, Dad. Forward. That's where all the action is." Alex smiled, his chest tightening. God, he loved them. "That's amazing, buddy." He ruffled Max's hair as he walked past. Mia looked up, her green eyes, so much like her mother's, watching him carefully. "You're leaving today?" Her voice was small. Alex sat down next to her. "Just for 2 weeks, sweetheart. Important meetings in Singapore." "Do you have to go?" The question stabbed at him. He wanted to say no, wanted to cancel everything, grab his kids and run. But running wouldn't protect them. "I do. But I'll call you every night. Promise." Mia nodded slowly, returning to her pancakes. Max didn't seem bothered. "Can you bring me back something cool? Like a sword or—" "Max, people don't have swords in Singapore." Mia rolled her eyes. "They might." Alex laughed, but the sound felt hollow. Across the room, Serafina descended the grand staircase. She was stunning, there was no denying that. Tall, elegant, with sleek black hair, and the kind of beauty that stopped people in their tracks. She wore a silk robe that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. She'd been a model when they met. High profile, connected, charming. He'd fallen hard, too fast. Grief did that to a man, made him desperate for something to fill the void. "Good morning, darling." Serafina kissed his cheek, her perfume overwhelming. "Morning." She glanced at the twins with barely concealed disinterest. "You two almost done? Elena needs to clear the table." Mia's face fell. Max stopped mid-bite. Alex's jaw tightened. "They're fine, Serafina. Let them finish." She smiled, sweet on the surface, ice underneath. "Of course. I just don't want them to be late for school." She poured herself coffee and sat down, scrolling through her phone. Alex watched her, studied her without saying a word. Elena Rodriguez had been working at the Sterling mansion for 6 months. She was 32, quiet, and kept mostly to herself. The other staff members knew almost nothing about her, just that she worked hard, never complained, and had a gentleness about her that the children gravitated toward. What they didn't know was that Elena was running from a past that still haunted her, a past that involved a daughter she had lost. Not to death, though sometimes that felt easier to bear, but to the foster system, to a custody battle she couldn't afford to fight, to a system that decided a single mother working 2 minimum-wage jobs wasn't stable enough to raise her own child. That was 4 years ago. Elena had been 28, desperate, broken. She'd spent the first year drowning in grief, the second year fighting just to survive, the third year rebuilding herself piece by piece. And now she worked in a mansion where 2 children needed someone to see them, to protect them. Mia and Max reminded her so much of her daughter, Sophia. The way Mia hummed while she colored, the way Max's eyes lit up when he talked about his day. It broke her heart and healed it, all at once. Elena had noticed things about Serafina immediately. The coldness, the impatience, the way she spoke to the children like they were inconveniences rather than human beings. But more than that, Elena had seen the fear. Mia flinched when Serafina walked into a room. Max grew quiet, subdued. These weren't children who felt safe, and that terrified Elena. She'd tried to bring it up once with the head housekeeper, Mrs. Chen. "I'm worried about the kids. Miss Serafina seems harsh with them." Mrs. Chen had given her a sharp look. "Not our place, Elena. Mr. Sterling knows what he's doing." But did he? Elena wasn't so sure. That afternoon, she found Mia crying in the library. The little girl sat curled up in an oversized chair, her face buried in her knees, shoulders shaking. Elena's heart shattered. "Mia, sweetheart, what's wrong?" Mia looked up, her face red and blotchy. I spilled juice on the carpet, in the guest room, and Serafina yelled at me. She said I'm clumsy and stupid and—" "Stop." Elena knelt in front of her, taking the child's small hands in hers. "You are not stupid, do you hear me? You're smart and kind and wonderful, but I ruined the carpet." "It's just a carpet, baby. It can be cleaned. You matter more than any carpet." Mia threw her arms around Elena's neck, sobbing. Elena held her tight, blinking back her own tears. "You're safe," she whispered. "I promise. I won't let anything happen to you." It was a promise she meant with every fiber of her being, even if it cost her everything. Alex's private jet touched down at LAX at 11:47 p.m., but Alexander Sterling wasn't on it. Instead, a decoy. His head of security, Marcus, wearing Alex's signature gray suit and aviator sunglasses, descended the stairs, briefcase in hand. Photographers caught the shot. Social media confirmed it within minutes. Tech billionaire Alexander Sterling arrives in Singapore for emergency summit. Perfect. Meanwhile, the real Alex was 3 miles away, sitting in a dingy motel bathroom, staring at his reflection. He didn't recognize himself. The makeup artist Marcus had hired, a former CIA operative who specialized in deep cover transformations, had done her job well, too well. Alex's usually styled dark hair was now shaggy, streaked with premature gray, and hung limp around his face. Colored contact lenses turned his sharp blue eyes a muddy brown. Prosthetic pieces subtly altered his nose and jawline. Temporary tattoos snaked up his forearms, the kind you'd expect on a man who'd worked construction, not boardrooms. He wore a faded gray work shirt with John stitched on the pocket, worn jeans, steel-toed boots that had seen better days. John Matthews, 46 years old, veteran, handyman, recently hired through a staffing agency after the mansion's previous janitor quit unexpectedly. Alex had made sure of that last part himself. A generous severance package and a job offer in Hawaii the old janitor couldn't refuse. He stood, testing his walk. Slower, heavier, a slight limp in his right leg, an old injury from his cover story. His phone buzzed. Marcus texted, "You sure about this?" Alex replied, "No choice." Marcus followed up, "If she recognizes you." Alex typed back, "She won't." He hoped that was true, because if Serafina discovered what he was doing, she'd either disappear or accelerate whatever plan she had for his children. And Alex couldn't let that happen. Day 1. As John Matthews started at 5:30 a.m., Mrs. Chen, the head housekeeper, met him at the service entrance. She was a stern woman in her 60s, efficient and no nonsense. "You're the new maintenance man?" "Yes, ma'am. John Matthews." Alex kept his voice rough, lower than his natural tone, a working-class accent he'd practiced for days. "You're early. I like that." She handed him a key ring. "Supply closet is in the basement. Your duties include all general repairs, groundskeeping, and deep cleaning the areas the regular housekeeping staff can't manage. You report to me. You stay out of the family's way. Understood?" "Yes, ma'am." The family consists of Mr. Sterling, who's currently overseas, his fiancée, Miss Serafina, and his 2 children. You don't speak to the children unless spoken to. You don't bother Miss Serafina. You do your job and you leave. Clear? Alex nodded, his jaw tight. Don't speak to his own children. Perfect. Mrs. Chen led him through the service hallways, the hidden veins of the mansion where staff moved invisibly, keeping the household running without disturbing the people who lived there. It was surreal. Alex had walked these halls 1,000 times as the owner. Now he was experiencing them as the help. People looked right through him. The morning chef didn't acknowledge him as he passed the kitchen. The gardener's assistant gave him a curt nod. Even Mrs. Chen treated him like a piece of furniture with a specific function. Invisible, exactly what he needed to be. His first task, fixing a leaking pipe in the 3rd-floor guest bathroom. As he climbed the service stairs, toolbox in hand, he heard voices, children's voices, Mia and Max, getting ready for school. Every instinct screamed at him to go to them, to hug them, to tell them Daddy was right here. But he couldn't. He gritted his teeth and kept walking. The first time Alex saw Serafina as John Matthews, she nearly walked right into him. He was on his knees in the hallway, replacing a broken baseboard, when her heels clicked past. She didn't even glance down. "Mrs. Chen," she called, her voice sharp. "The cleaners left streaks on the mirror in my dressing room. I need it fixed before my lunch appointment." "Of course, ma'am. Right away." Serafina disappeared around the corner, leaving a cloud of expensive perfume in her wake. Alex exhaled slowly. She hadn't recognized. Relief and disgust warred in his chest. He'd been engaged to this woman, shared a bed with her, introduced her to his children, and she just treated him like dirt on her shoe without even seeing his face. What did that say about her? What did that say about him for not seeing who she really was? Lunchtime in the mansion was a strange affair. The children ate in the breakfast nook with Elena supervising. Serafina took her meals in her private suite or went out. Alex, still in character as John, ate a sandwich in the basement break room, a small windowless space with a microwave and a table that wobbled. But he wasn't really eating. He was watching. The mansion had security cameras everywhere. Alex had access to all of them through an app on a burner phone. He'd set up additional hidden cameras in key locations before leaving for Singapore, tiny lenses disguised as smoke detectors and air vents. Now he scrolled through the feeds. Kitchen, clear. Living room, empty. Children's wing. He froze. Serafina was in Max's room. She stood in front of his son's dresser, rifling through drawers, looking for something. What the hell? She pulled out Max's piggy bank, a ceramic soccer ball the boy had been saving money in for months. Allowance, birthday cash from relatives. Serafina turned it over, shaking it. Then she smashed it on the floor, coins scattered everywhere. She bent down, scooped up the bills. maybe $60, and pocketed them. Alex's vision went white with rage. She was stealing from an 8-year-old. His hands shook as he watched her casually walk out, leaving the broken pieces on the floor for someone else to clean up. For him to clean up. He wanted to storm upstairs, to grab her by the arm and demand to know what kind of monster steals from a child. But he couldn't, not yet. He needed more. Alex forced himself to breathe, to stay calm, to wait, but inside, he was screaming. That afternoon, Alex was cleaning the pool house when he heard crying. Small, muffled. He followed the sound to the garden, where Mia sat hidden behind the rose bushes, her knees pulled to her chest. His daughter, crying alone. It took everything in him not to break character. He approached slowly, keeping his distance. "Hey there, kiddo, you okay?" Mia's head snapped up. Her eyes were red and puffy. I'm fine. You don't look fine." She stared at him for a long moment. This strange maintenance man she didn't know. Then fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. She said my mommy would be ashamed of me. Alex's blood turned to ice. "Who said that?" "Serafina." Mia's voice broke on the name. "I asked her if we could look at pictures of mommy tonight. Because daddy's gone and I miss her and she said mommy would be ashamed because I'm needy and pathetic and—" "Stop." Alex knelt in the dirt, his heart shattering into a million pieces. "Listen to me very carefully. Your mommy loved you more than anything in this world, and she would never, ever be ashamed of you. You hear me?" Mia blinked, surprised by the intensity in his voice. "How do you know?" "Because anyone who looks at you can see what an amazing kid you are. Smart, kind, brave." "I'm not brave," she whispered. "Yes, you are. You're one of the bravest people I've ever met." Something shifted in Mia's expression. Like a drowning person grabbing a lifeline. "What's your name?" "John." "Thank you, John." She wiped her eyes and stood, a little steadier now. As she walked back toward the house, Alex remained on his knees in the dirt, his hands clenched into fists. He'd heard enough. Serafina wasn't just after his money. She was destroying his children's spirits, piece by piece, memory by memory, and that was unforgivable. That night, Alex reviewed the camera footage from his burner phone. 6:47 p.m., Serafina in the kitchen, on the phone with someone. The audio was muffled, but he caught fragments. 3 more weeks, maybe 4. Needs to look natural. Insurance policy is solid. 7:23 p.m., Serafina entering the twins' bathroom. She opened the medicine cabinet, examined the children's vitamins, replaced them with an identical bottle from her purse. Alex's stomach dropped. He zoomed in on the label. The bottle looked exactly the same, but it wasn't. "What the hell did you just give my kids?" 8:15 p.m., Elena putting the children to bed, reading them a story, kissing their foreheads. The way Mia and Max clung to her made Alex's chest ache. Elena wasn't just a maid. She was the mother figure his children desperately needed, the protector they didn't even know they had. 9:40 p.m., Serafina, alone in the master bedroom, his bedroom, video calling someone. Alex turned up the volume. A man's face appeared on the screen. He looked older, with slicked back hair and wearing an expensive suit. "How much longer?" the man asked. "Soon. Sterling's out of the country. It's the perfect window. And the children?" Serafina smiled. It was the coldest thing Alex had ever seen. "Won't be a problem." The call ended. Alex sat in the darkness of the basement break room, the phone trembling in his hand. She was really going to do it. She was going to kill his children. And if he didn't stop her, no, he would stop her, whatever it took. Elena Rodriguez had seen evil before. She had seen it in the eyes of the social worker who took her daughter away, in the face of the judge who ruled against her, in the smug lawyer who represented her ex-husband's wealthy new wife. But this was different. This was a woman planning to hurt children, and Elena would be damned if she let it happen again. It started 3 nights ago. Elena had been doing her final rounds, checking that windows were locked, lights were off, the children were sleeping peacefully. When she'd passed Serafina's suite, the door was cracked open, voices drifted out. "The dosage needs to be gradual, can't raise suspicion." Elena had frozen in the hallway. Symptoms will look like natural illness, stomach pain, nausea, weakness. Her blood ran cold. She'd leaned closer, barely breathing. And once the trust activates after their deaths, you'll have access to the full 30 million. We split it 60-40 as agreed. Elena's hand flew to her mouth, stifling a gasp. They were talking about killing Mia and Max. Actually planning it, like they were discussing a business transaction. She'd stumbled backward, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might explode. Her hands shook, her vision blurred. Those babies, those sweet innocent babies. Elena had rushed to her small room in the staff wing, locked the door and collapsed against it. She should call the police, but what would she say? I overheard part of a conversation. She had no proof, no evidence, just fragments of a phone call. Rich people like Serafina had lawyers, power, connections. Elena was nobody, a maid with a criminal record, nothing violent, just unpaid parking tickets that had spiraled into a warrant, and a history of losing custody battles. Who would believe her? But she couldn't do nothing. So Elena made a decision. She would watch, document, protect. And if Serafina tried anything at all, Elena would stop her, no matter the cost. The next morning, Elena paid closer attention to everything. She watched Serafina's movements, noted when she entered the children's wing, tracked what she touched, and that's when Elena noticed the vitamins. The twins took them every morning with breakfast, gummy multivitamins shaped like cartoon characters. Max always ate the red ones first. Mia liked the purple. But today, something was off. The bottle looked right. The label matched. But the gummies themselves were slightly different, a shade darker, the texture just a bit more translucent. Elena's stomach twisted. When Serafina left for her Pilates class, Elena grabbed the vitamin bottle and locked herself in the laundry room. Her hands trembled as she examined the label. Same brand, same packaging. But when she looked at the back, at the batch number and expiration date, they didn't match the original bottle she'd seen 2 days ago. Someone had switched them. Elena's mind raced. She couldn't prove the vitamins were poisoned, not without access to a lab, but every instinct screamed that something was wrong. She made a split-second decision. Elena poured the suspicious vitamins into a Ziploc bag and hid them in her room. Then she went to the pantry, found the backup bottle of vitamins Mrs. Chen kept for emergencies, and replaced the suspicious ones. Her heart pounded the entire time. If Serafina noticed, if anyone caught her, but no one did. That afternoon, when it was time for the children's snack, Elena served them their vitamins personally, the real ones. Max popped 3 red gummies into his mouth. Thanks, Elena. Mia took her purple ones carefully. You're the best. Elena smiled, but inside she was screaming. She'd just prevented, what? Poisoning? Slow organ damage? She didn't know, but she knew those children were alive because of what she had done. And she would keep doing it for as long as it took. Alex watched it all unfold through the hidden cameras. He had seen Serafina switch the vitamins 2 days ago. He had documented it, time-stamped it, saved the footage to an encrypted cloud server his lawyers could access. But he hadn't expected Elena to notice. He hadn't expected her to act. From his position in the basement, watching the live feed on his burner phone, Alex felt something shift in his chest. This woman, this quiet maid who kept to herself, had just saved his children's lives, without hesitation, without knowing if anyone would believe her or back her up. She'd simply done what was right. Alex made a mental note. When this was over, Elena Rodriguez would never have to worry about money again. But first, he needed more evidence. The switched vitamins were good. But Serafina could claim it was an accident, a mix-up. Her lawyers would spin it. No, he needed her to incriminate herself beyond any doubt. He needed to catch her in the act of something undeniable. And based on what he'd heard on that phone call last night, where Serafina told her accomplice that the window is closing, Alex knew she was about to escalate. The real question was, how far would she go? The incident with the locked room happened on a Saturday. Alex was repairing a fence in the back garden when he heard shouting. Max's voice. Panicked, crying. "Let me out, please, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." Alex dropped his tools and ran toward the house. The sound was coming from the second floor. The old storage room at the end of the east wing. He took the stairs 3 at a time, his cover be damned, but Elena got there first. She was pounding on the door. "Max, sweetheart, I'm here." "Elena, she locked me in. It's dark and I can't breathe." The boy was hyperventilating. Alex appeared at the end of the hallway. "What happened?" Elena spun around, her face pale. "He's locked in. I don't have the key. Move." Alex grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall mount and slammed it into the door handle. Once. Twice. The lock splintered. The door flew open. Max stumbled out, tears streaming down his face, and threw himself into Elena's arms. "It's okay, baby, you're safe. I've got you." She held him tight, rocking him gently. Alex's hands shook with rage. "Who locked him in?" Max's voice was tiny. "Serafina. I accidentally knocked over her makeup bag and some stuff fell out and she got really mad and she grabbed my arm and pushed me in here and said I needed to learn respect and—" "Shh, it's okay." Elena stroked his hair. "You didn't do anything wrong," but Alex barely heard her. He was staring at Max's arm, at the red marks, finger-shaped bruises already forming. She'd grabbed him, hard enough to leave marks. Alex felt something break inside him. "Where is she?" His voice was deadly quiet. Elena looked up, surprised by the intensity. "Mr. Matthews, where? Her suite. But you can't." Alex was already walking. Elena called after him. "Wait, you'll lose your job." He didn't care, but before he reached Serafina's door, his phone buzzed. Marcus replied. "Stop, I'm watching the feed. You're about to blow your cover." Alex texted back. "She put her hands on my son." Marcus replied, "I know, and we have it on camera. The bruises will photograph. You'll get her. But not if you confront her now." Alex stood in the hallway, every muscle in his body screaming to kick down that door. Marcus replied, "Think about the endgame. You want her in prison, not just fired." Slowly, painfully, Alex unclenched his fists. Marcus was right. If he confronted Serafina now, she'd know something was wrong. She'd lawyer up, disappear, and his children would never truly be safe. No, he had to wait, even though it was killing him. Alex turned and walked back downstairs, his jaw so tight it ached. Behind him, Elena comforted Max, whispering reassurances the boy desperately needed. And in her suite, Serafina poured herself a glass of wine, completely unbothered by what she'd done. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She lay in her small bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the day's events. Max's terrified screams, the bruises on his arm, the cold calculation in Serafina's eyes. And that janitor, John Matthews. There was something about him that didn't add up. The way he'd run toward Max's cries without hesitation. The protective fury in his voice, the expensive watch he'd badly tried to hide under his work shirt sleeve. Elena had noticed it when he'd smashed the door open. A Patek Philippe. $50,000 minimum. What janitor wore a watch like that? And his hands, they weren't the hands of a man who'd done manual labor his whole life. No calluses, no scars, just strong, well-maintained hands that looked like they signed contracts, not fixed pipes. Elena sat up in bed. What's the truth behind him, John Matthews? She didn't have answers, but her instincts, the same instincts that had kept her alive through the worst years of her life, told her that this man was more than he appeared. And maybe, just maybe, he was an ally. The medication incident happened on a Tuesday morning. Mia had woken up with a headache. Nothing serious, just a mild throb behind her eyes, the kind of thing that happened to kids sometimes. Elena had checked her temperature. Normal, no fever. "Do you feel sick to your tummy, sweetie?" "No, just my head hurts a little." "Okay, let's get you some breakfast and see if it helps." But Serafina had other ideas. She'd swept into the breakfast nook, all fake concern. "Poor darling, you look terrible." Mia's face fell. "I do? Absolutely pale. Here." Serafina pulled a pill bottle from her purse. "Take 2 of these. They'll help with the headache." Elena's alarm bells went off immediately. "What kind of medication is that?" Serafina's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Prescription migraine medicine. Perfectly safe. She's 8 years old. She can't take adult migraine medication. I think I know what's appropriate for my future stepdaughter. With all due respect, Miss Serafina, We should call her pediatrician first. Are you questioning me? The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Elena stood her ground. I'm just concerned about Mia's safety. Your job is to follow instructions, not give medical advice. They stared at each other. Mia looked between them, confused and scared. Finally, Elena made a decision. Mia, sweetheart, why don't you come with me? We'll get you some water and children's Tylenol from the medicine cabinet your dad keeps stocked. The kind Dr. Peterson recommended. She took Mia's hand and led her away. Behind them, Serafina's expression turned venomous. Alex watched the confrontation from 3 different camera angles. Elena had just made an enemy, but she'd also saved Mia from taking God knows what in those pills. He immediately texted Marcus. I need those pills. Serafina tried to give Mia analyzed. Can you get them? Marcus replied, how? Alex texted back. She left her purse in the sitting room. I can grab the bottle during my cleaning rounds. Marcus replied, too risky. Alex texted again, I don't care. 20 minutes later, Alex was in the sitting room, emptying Serafina's designer handbag, wallet, lipstick, compact, car keys, and a prescription bottle. He photographed the label, then carefully removed 2 pills, placing them in a small evidence bag. The label said, sumatriptan, migraine relief. But Alex wasn't taking any chances. He texted Marcus the photos. By that evening, Marcus had answers. Those pills aren't sumatriptan. They're diphenhydramine, high-dose sedatives. 2 pills would knock out an adult for 12+ hours. For a child Mia's size. Alex replied immediately, what? Marcus replied, could cause respiratory depression. Potentially fatal. Alex had to grip the edge of the sink to keep from putting his fist through the mirror. She'd tried to kill Mia, right there at the breakfast table, disguised as concern. If Elena hadn't intervened, he couldn't finish the thought. Elena noticed the changes immediately. Serafina stopped pretending to be pleasant. The mask came off. She snapped at the children constantly, criticized everything they did, made cutting remarks about their dead mother. Your mom was weak, that's why she died. If your dad had better taste, he wouldn't have ended up with such annoying children. You're lucky I'm willing to tolerate you at all. Each comment was a knife to their small hearts. Max became withdrawn, stopped talking at dinner, stopped playing with his toys. Mia developed a nervous habit of pulling at her sleeves, wouldn't make eye contact. And Elena documented everything. She started keeping a journal, writing down every incident, every cruel word, every suspicious action. She didn't know what she'd do with it, but she knew it mattered. One afternoon, she found Mia in the library, curled up in the window seat, clutching a photo of her mother. Silent tears ran down her cheeks. Elena sat beside her. Talk to me, sweet girl. I miss my mommy. I know you do. Serafina says mommy's never coming back, that she's gone forever, and I need to stop being a baby about it. Elena's vision blurred with fury. Listen to me. She took Mia's face gently in her hands. Your mommy loved you so much. And yes, she's gone. But the love she gave you, that's still here, right here. Elena placed her hand over Mia's heart. Nobody can take that away. Not ever. Mia threw her arms around Elena's neck and sobbed. I wish you were my mommy. The words shattered. Elena. Oh, baby. You're nice to me. You don't yell. You make me feel safe. Elena held her tighter, her own tears falling now. You are safe. I promise. As long as I'm here, I will keep you safe. It was a vow, one Elena intended to keep, even if it destroyed her. The juice incident happened on a Thursday. Alex was cleaning the second-floor hallway when he heard Serafina in the kitchen. She was talking to herself, a habit she had when she thought no one was listening. Just a little something extra. Won't kill them, not yet, but it'll make them sick enough that when they actually die, it won't seem suspicious. Alex's blood turned to ice. He moved quickly, silently, to the service stairs. The hidden camera in the kitchen had audio. He pulled up the feed. Serafina was standing at the counter preparing 2 glasses of orange juice. From her pocket she pulled a small vial. She glanced around, making sure she was alone. Then she unscrewed the cap and poured a clear liquid into both glasses, swirled them gently. Then she placed them on a tray, and started toward the stairs. Alex's heart stopped. The twins were in the playroom upstairs. He couldn't intervene directly without blowing his cover. But Elena, he pulled out his burner phone and called her. "Hello?" Elena's voice was cautious. She didn't recognize the number. "It's John, the janitor. Listen to me carefully. Serafina just poisoned the juice she's bringing to the kids. You need to stop them from drinking it." "What? How do you—" "Please, just trust me." There was a pause. Then, "I'm on it." The line went dead. Alex switched back to the camera feed. Serafina entered the playroom, all smiles. "Max, Mia, I brought you fresh juice." The children looked up, surprised. Serafina never brought them anything. Thank you," Max said cautiously. Serafina set the tray down. "Drink up. You must be thirsty after all that playing." Just as Max reached for a glass, Elena burst in. "Wait." Everyone turned. I just realized those glasses aren't clean. I saw spots on them earlier. Let me grab fresh ones from the kitchen." She scooped up both glasses before anyone could protest. Serafina's smile turned razor sharp. "They look perfectly clean to me." "Better safe than sorry, Miss Serafina." Elena walked out, her hands trembling so badly she nearly dropped the tray. Serafina stared after her, eyes narrowed. Then she turned to the children with a tight smile. "What thoughtful service. Anyway, I have errands to run." She left, but the look on her face said everything. She knew. Elena was onto her. The breaking point came 2 days later. Serafina called Elena into her suite. "We need to discuss your employment." Elena's stomach dropped. "What about it?" "I think you've become too involved with the children. It's inappropriate. I'm their caretaker. It's literally my job. Your job is to clean and follow instructions, not play substitute mother. What the children need is discipline, structure, not coddling from the help." The word help dripped with disdain. Elena held her ground. "With all due respect, they need love and safety." Serafina's eyes flashed. "You're fired." The words hung in the air. "You can't fire me. Mr. Sterling hired me. Only he can. Mr. Sterling isn't here, and as his fiancée I have authority over household staff. You're terminated, effective immediately. I want you out by tonight." Elena's world tilted. If she left, who would protect Mia and Max? "Please, I'm begging you. Let me stay." "Begging?" Serafina smiled cruelly. "How pathetic." "No, you're done here. Pack your things." Elena stumbled to her room, panic clawing at her chest. She had to warn Alex, but before she could reach her phone, there was a soft knock. Max and Mia stood in her doorway, their eyes wide. "We heard yelling," Mia whispered. "Are you okay?" Elena's heart shattered. She knelt down, pulling them both into a hug. "I'm okay, babies. Serafina said you're leaving." Max's voice trembled. "Is that true?" "No." She couldn't tell them the truth. She couldn't make this harder. I might have to go away for a little while." "No." Mia clutched her tighter. "You can't leave us with her." "Please, Elena." Max was crying now. "She's mean. She hates us. You're the only one who's nice." "Shh. Listen to me." Elena held their faces. "I will always protect you, no matter what. Even if I'm not here, I'm still watching over you. Okay? Promise?" Mia sobbed. "I promise." Behind them, in the hallway, Alex watched through a crack in the service door. His children, clinging to the woman who'd risked everything for them. And Serafina had just made the biggest mistake of her life. She'd threatened the one person standing in her way, which meant she was about to make her final move. Alex pulled out his phone and texted Marcus. "Marcus, it's happening. Get the police on standby. And call my lawyer. I want Serafina arrested the moment she tries anything." Marcus replied, "Copy that. Stay alert." Alex looked back at Elena and the twins. One way or another, this ended tonight. Midnight. The Sterling mansion was silent. Too silent. Alex couldn't sleep. He'd been lying in his cramped staff quarters in the basement, staring at the ceiling, watching the camera feed on his phone. Everything looked normal. The twins were asleep in their beds. Elena had packed her bags but hadn't left yet. She was sitting on her bed, still dressed, like she was keeping vigil. And Serafina's suite was dark. But Alex's instincts screamed that something was wrong. He'd seen this pattern before. In business. In negotiations. the calm before someone made their killing move. Serafina thought she'd won. She'd fired Elena, isolated the children. Alex was supposedly thousands of miles away in Singapore. This was her moment. Alex sat up, pulling on his janitor's uniform in the dark. His phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Police are parked 3 blocks away, plain clothes, ready to move on your signal. Alex clipped the phone to his belt and headed upstairs. 1:47 a.m. Elena jolted awake. She'd dozed off sitting upright, her packed bag beside her. Something had woken her. A sound, faint, coming from the children's wing. Footsteps. Her heart began to race. She crept to her door and opened it a crack. The hallway was dark except for the soft glow of night lights. And there, at the end of the hall, was Serafina. She wore all black. Her hair was pulled back. She moved with purpose. In her hands, she carried something. 2 glasses of milk. Elena's blood turned to ice. No, not tonight. Not while I'm still here. She slipped out of her room, barefoot and silent, following Serafina down the hallway. Alex saw it all unfold on the camera feed. Serafina entering the twins' room. Elena trailing behind, staying in the shadows. He was already moving, taking the stairs 3 at a time, his disguise forgotten. He pulled out his phone and hit record on a secondary app that would live stream everything to Marcus and his legal team. Evidence. He needed irrefutable evidence. Inside the twins' bedroom, Serafina approached Max's bed first. The boy was sleeping peacefully, his favorite stuffed dinosaur clutched under one arm. She set 1 glass of milk on his nightstand, then moved to Mia's bed. The little girl was curled into a ball, her thumb near her mouth, a habit she'd had since she was a baby. Serafina placed the 2nd glass on Mia's nightstand. Then she pulled out her phone and set a timer. 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, she'd wake them gently, tell them she'd brought them a special treat because she felt bad about earlier. Warm milk with honey, she'd say, to help them sleep better. They would drink it because they were children, because they wanted to believe people could be kind, and within an hour they would be dead. Serafina would discover them in the morning. Call 911, hysterical. Some tragic illness, the doctors would say. A virus, perhaps. So sudden, so devastating. And she would play the grieving stepmother beautifully. The plan was perfect, except for one thing. Elena was standing in the doorway. Step away from them. Elena's voice cut through the darkness. Serafina spun around, her eyes wide. For a moment, neither woman moved. Then, Serafina's expression shifted. The mask of civility evaporated, replaced by something cold and reptilian. You're supposed to be packing. I'm not leaving them with you. You don't have a choice. You're fired. I don't care. Serafina took a step forward. Get out. Now. Or I'll call the police and have you arrested for trespassing. Go ahead, call them. Elena's voice was steady despite the fear coursing through her. And I'll tell them why you're really here. What's in those glasses? Serafina glanced at the milk, then back at Elena. You have an overactive imagination. Do I? Should we wake the children and have them drink it? See what happens? It's just milk, Serafina said. Then you drink it. Elena snapped. Silence stretched between them. Serafina's jaw tightened. You have no idea what you're interfering with. I know exactly what I'm interfering with. Murder. The word hung between them like a knife. Serafina laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. You're insane. No one will believe you. A maid with a record accusing me? Please. Maybe they won't believe me. Elena took a step into the room. But they'll believe the evidence. What evidence? The vitamins you switched, the medication you tried to give Mia, the pills in your purse that weren't what the label said, the juice you poisoned. Should I keep going? Serafina's face went pale. For the first time, Serafina looked uncertain. Then her expression hardened into something dangerous. Fine. You want to play hero? Let's see how that works out for you. She lunged. Elena barely had time to react. Serafina grabbed her by the throat and slammed her against the wall. The impact knocked the wind out of Elena's lungs. Stars exploded in her vision. You stupid, pathetic woman, Serafina hissed, her fingers digging into Elena's neck. You really think you can stop me? I've planned this for months. Months. And you, some nobody Maid, think you can ruin everything? Elena clawed at Serafina's hands. gasping for air. Behind them, Mia stirred in her sleep. "Mommy?" she murmured, still half dreaming. The sound made something snap in Elena. With a surge of adrenaline, she brought her knee up hard into Serafina's stomach. Serafina gasped and stumbled backward. Elena fell to the floor, coughing, her throat burning. But she didn't stay down. She scrambled toward the nightstands, grabbing both glasses of milk. Serafina recovered quickly, her face twisted with rage. "Give those back!" "No!" Elena backed toward the door, holding the glasses. Serafina advanced. "You're making this worse for yourself. I don't care what happens to me. But you're not touching these children. They're not your children. No. But I love them like they are." And that's when Alex appeared in the doorway. "That's enough." Both women froze. Alex stepped into the room, his disguise partially removed, the brown contact lenses gone, revealing his real eye color. The prosthetics peeled away. Even in the dim light, he was unmistakable. Serafina's face went white. "Alex, but you're in Singapore." "No, I've been here the whole time, watching you." She took a step back. "I don't. What are you talking about?" "John Matthews, the janitor. That was me." The words hit Serafina like a physical blow. Her mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Alex moved further into the room, his phone held up, still recording. "I've documented everything, Serafina. The switched vitamins, the fake medication, the poison juice, and now this." He gestured to the glasses Elena was holding. "Poisoned milk. Meant to kill my children. That's insane. Am I?" His voice was deadly calm. "Because I have video footage, time-stamped, from multiple angles. I have the pills you tried to give Mia, analyzed by a lab. I have recordings of your phone calls planning their deaths. I have everything." Serafina's face cycled through emotions: shock, fear, rage, and finally calculation. "You can't prove anything. It's circumstantial. My lawyers will what? Explain why you replaced my children's vitamins? Why you put sedatives in pill bottles labeled as migraine medication? Why you're in their bedroom at 2 a.m. with drinks that I'm willing to bet contain enough poison to kill them?" He took another step closer. "You targeted my children because of money. $30 million in a trust fund. You were going to marry me, kill them, and cash in. That's not—" "Stop lying." The command in his voice made her flinch. "I have phone records of you talking to your accomplice. I know about the 60-40 split. I know you researched untraceable poisons. I know you staged that fall down the stairs to test if anyone was paying attention. I know you stole from Max's piggy bank. I know you locked him in a room and left bruises on his arm." Each revelation hit like a hammer blow. Serafina's carefully constructed facade was crumbling. You've been spying on me, in my own home. My home. And yes, because you made me doubt you. And I'm glad I did, because otherwise my children would be dead." Behind them, Mia had fully woken up. She sat up in bed, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy!" The sound of her voice, sweet, confused, sleepy, broke something in Alex. He turned to his daughter, his expression softening. "Hey, baby girl, it's okay. Daddy's home, but you're supposed to be in—" "I know. I'll explain everything. Right now, I need you to wake up Max and go with Elena, okay?" Mia looked between her father, Elena, and Serafina. Even at 8 years old, she could sense the danger in the room. "Okay, Daddy." Elena set the glasses down carefully on a high shelf the children couldn't reach and moved to help Mia wake her brother. Max was harder to rouse. 5 more minutes, he mumbled. "Come on, sweetheart." Elena lifted him gently. "Let's go to my room." "Elena?" Max blinked up at her. "I thought you were leaving." "Not anymore, baby." She carried him toward the door, Mia clutching her other hand. As they passed Alex, Mia paused. "Daddy? Is Serafina going away?" Alex knelt down to her level. "Yes, sweetheart, she is, and she's never coming back." Mia looked at Serafina, at the woman who'd tormented her for months, and said quietly, "Good." Then she let Elena lead her out. Once the children were gone, the room felt colder. Serafina and Alex faced each other. "You ruined everything," she said, her voice shaking with fury. "I saved my children. Those brats were never going to amount to anything. Don't." His voice cracked like a whip. Don't you dare talk about them. Why not? They're weak, pathetic, just like their mother was. Alex moved so fast Serafina didn't see it coming. He grabbed her wrist, the same way she'd grabbed Max, and squeezed, not enough to injure, but enough to make a point. Catherine was worth 100 of you, and my children are the best thing I've ever done in my life. You don't get to speak about them. You don't even get to think about them. He released her, shoving her backward. Serafina stumbled, tears of rage streaming down her face. You think you've won? You think this is over? It is over. My family has connections, lawyers, money. You'll never make any of this stick, Serafina yelled. Watch me. Alex pulled out his phone and hit a button. Instantly, the sound of sirens filled the air. Multiple police cars, coming closer. Serafina's face went ashen. You called the police? They've been waiting 3 blocks away for the past hour. I told them to move in once I had you on tape attempting to poison my children. You set me up. I gave you every opportunity to walk away, to leave my family alone. You chose this. The sirens were right outside now. Footsteps pounded up the stairs. Alexander Sterling, a voice called out. In here. 4 police officers entered the room, followed by Marcus and 2 people in suits, Alex's lawyers. One of the officers approached Serafina. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with us. On what charges? She demanded, trying to sound defiant. Attempted murder, child endangerment, conspiracy to commit murder. The officer began listing them. You have the right to remain silent. This is insane. I didn't do anything. But the officer was already putting handcuffs on her wrists. Alex held up his phone. I have video evidence, recorded phone conversations, physical evidence. All of it has been sent to the district attorney's office and is being held by my legal team. One of his lawyers stepped forward. We're prepared to testify. The chain of evidence is airtight. Serafina's eyes went wild. Alex, please, we can talk about this. I made mistakes, but... Mistakes? His voice was ice. You tried to murder my children. I wasn't going to actually do it. I was just what? Testing them? The poison in those glasses says otherwise. The officer holding Serafina looked at Alex. We'll need to take those as evidence. They're on the shelf, untouched. Another officer carefully bagged the glasses. As they led Serafina toward the door, she turned one last time. You'll regret this. My family will destroy you. Your family can try, but I have the best lawyers money can buy. And unlike you, I have the truth on my side. She was still screaming threats as they dragged her down the stairs. Alex stood in the empty bedroom, listening to her voice fade away. The sirens, the car doors slamming, the sound of the police cruiser pulling away, and then silence. It was over. Alex found Elena in her room, sitting on the bed with both children. Mia was curled against her side. Max had his head in her lap. They all looked up when he entered. For a moment, no one spoke. Alex sat down on the bed, gathering both children into his arms. Mia turned to Elena. You're my hero. Elena's eyes filled with tears. You're my heroes, sweet girl, both of you. Max hugged her tighter. Don't leave, please don't leave. I'm not going anywhere. Promise? Elena looked at Alex. He nodded. I promise. Later that night, or rather early that morning, after the children had finally fallen back asleep in Alex's room where he could watch over them, Alex and Elena stood in the kitchen. She made tea, he made coffee. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Elena broke the silence. What happens now? Now? Serafina goes to trial. She'll be convicted. And she'll spend the rest of her life in prison. And the children? They'll heal. It'll take time, therapy. But they're strong. They'll be okay. Elena nodded, staring into her tea. And you? Alex asked gently. What about me? You were fired, threatened, attacked. You could have walked away at any point. But you didn't. I couldn't leave them. Why? She looked up, meeting his eyes. Because I know what it's like to lose a child, to be powerless, to watch the system fail you. Her voice cracked. I couldn't let that happen to them, not if I could stop it. Alex set down his coffee. You have a daughter. Elena's eyes widened. How did you? I had you vetted when we hired you. Background check. But I didn't dig deeper because I trusted my instincts, and I was right to trust you." She was quiet for a moment. "Then, her name is Sophia. She's 12. I lost custody 4 years ago. Do you want to? Every single day. But I can't afford the legal fees to fight for visitation, and her stepmother has made it clear I'm not welcome." "What if money wasn't an issue?" Elena stared at him. "Mr. Sterling, Alex, please, after everything, call me Alex. Alex, I can't ask you to—" "You're not asking, I'm offering. You saved my children's lives, multiple times. You risked everything for them. Let me help you get your daughter back." Tears spilled down Elena's cheeks. "I don't know what to say. Say yes." She nodded, unable to speak. Alex reached across the table and took her hand. "Thank you, Elena, for being there when I couldn't be, for loving my children when they needed it most, for being the kind of person the world needs more of." If this video helped you out today, hit that like button. It really supports the channel. And if you're new here or want more tips like this, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. See you in the next one.